Hey guys, Chris Haddon, Jason Balin here with the HMB podcast. It is Thursday, September 17th, and we're going to talk about an update of what's going on at HMB, what's going on with our clients, in-person meetings, just everything happening around us as we are moving forward through this pandemic and still trying to do some business, right? Still trying to make it happen even with everything going on.
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a quick rundown. Basically over the summer, after the initial shutdown, everything else, we have started to come back to the office, but at a limited sort of capacity. You know, everyone wants to keep safe distance, everything else. So we'll have one, maybe two, on occasion, three people in the office. Everyone's gotten really accustomed to working from home. Like we're all set up here with screens and the stuff that we need to do the vast majority of our job. And there are certain few things that do have to happen at the office, like checks coming in and documents and stuff like that. So we're not yet doing in-person meetings. And if you've done business with HMB in the past, you know that we are big on that. Whether it's coming to the office before we do a loan, or maybe if, you know, something's happening with a deal, you want to talk it through, coming in for that. And then obviously our monthly meetup as well has been a big part of our monthly schedule for probably 4 or 5 years. And of course, that's been canceled since March and not on the calendar yet. We don't know when that is going to become possible again. But we do look forward to it, you know. We do look forward to getting back face to face with our clients and other people in the real estate community. That's going to be totally cool when we can do that. Not quite there yet. And we were thinking about starting to do some Zoom stuff. I mean, obviously the whole world's been doing Zoom for a lot of business things, and we have too, you know, mainly internal with our team for different kinds of meetings. But I think we should start doing more of that with clients too. We were just chatting about that, right?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing about real estate investing in general is, although it's such an offline business model, real estate investors can still operate online very, very easily. And we've learned and done the same. You know, we're so used to going to, you know, to offices, taking a look at properties physically and things like that. And, you know, really there's a lot of tools that can still accomplish a lot of those things. For instance, when we do loans for real estate investors, obviously it's important to know who you're lending to. You know, this is private lending. This is one-on-one partnerships. I mean, you want to know us just like we want to know you. So in the past, clients would come to our office, not just for our benefit, but for their benefit as well, to see who's actually lending them money and partnering with them. You know, it's important. If you're getting private capital from somebody and you're expecting to close in a very short period of time, like, you need to know that money is available. So obviously any hard money lender or any capital source that you're using, that's important. So that kind of ease people when they realize, hey, like, we have a physical operation, we have a real operation. This isn't just like somebody in, you know, their mom's basement saying they're going to lend you money. So that was good. You know, obviously going out to properties, you know, our inspector Dave still goes out to all of their properties. So that's good. You know, that's something you can do still that's safe, you know, getting one person into a property at a time, or potentially doing a drive-by or a way to kind of put your eyes on an asset. You know, that still exists. And, you know, what I've realized is there's still a lot of good tools and resources if you're working with us or another hard money lender, or if you're working with a seller. I mean, communicating, you know, via the phone, communicating with Zoom calls. You know, I was chatting with another hard money lender who we work with out of Chicago today, and you know, there was a lot of resources for us to kind of collaborate, right? Like, she was able to bring up Zoom. We were able to pull comps on properties. We were able to kind of analyze things that way without having to do it in person or in-person meetings. So I think there's a lot of takeaways, and I think just like anything in business. And it's funny, this is actually in one of the chapters that Chris and I had in our first book called The Whiteboard, but it's the online-offline blend. And I think that, you know, if you're so used to everything offline, you know, you can run a solid business offline, or you can run a solid business online. But if you learn how to blend the two of those together and use the tools and the resources online and mold that to the offline business of real estate investing, it just goes a long way.
Man, pulling from the Whiteboard book, I didn't even think about that. That chapter is super relevant to this year. That didn't really. There you go. There you go. I'm gonna revisit that chapter. That's a good call. That had not, even with everything going on, that had not occurred to me. And also, I wanted to emphasize too what you said before, which didn't cross my mind before either. But yeah, obviously, like you said, like, you know, we want to get to know who we're giving, you know, several $100,000 to. But yeah, the opposite is true as well. Like there's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I can get you this loan, I can get you that loan. And they're just kind of, you know, maybe there's really something behind it. Maybe they're referring it to someone else. You don't really know. You don't really know, like, is that going anywhere? Is that a legitimate operation? Whatever it may be. So I like that. You know, people being local, you can go to their office, talk to them. Like you were saying, see that we have a real office and staff and, you know, branding. It's a real operation. You can tell just by walking in the door. Versus going down the rabbit hole of chasing some like super, you know, low interest rate and awesome terms that sound too good to be true. And so you go down the rabbit hole and then 30 days later, you end up with no loan funding. So that's a good point too. I like that.
Yeah. And again, it's not just, you know, working with a lender or it's just everything in general. I mean, think about it. Like if you're buying a property from a distressed seller or any seller, believe me when I tell you that human emotions and human interactions is super, super important, right? I can pick up the phone and talk to a seller and work with them and see what kind of deal we can be had, but nothing's going to ever be better than meeting them in person and sitting at their dining room table and working with them directly. Or if you're working with a buyer, it's the same thing. Now, obviously, after you do multiple deals or transactions or partnerships with people, it gets easier, right? But at the beginning, you kind of got to do that. So, hey, if you can't get and sit at a dining room table right now, bring the dining room table to yourself, right? Do a Zoom call with them. You know, if you had a call with some sort of seller and you were like, listen, I want to let you know what our process is. I want to see who I am. I want to see who you are. And you go that extra mile and do it. And meet them and see them, even if it's digitally over Zoom. And I know a lot of people want to kind of cop out and take the easy road because, hey, sometimes personal interaction is not the funnest thing to do. But you know what? It's worth it, and you'll solidify that relationship with that person. So if you're not comfortable meeting them one-on-one, definitely do it digitally.
Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, pitching to sellers too. I remember the very detailed sales process that Josh Weidman put together. Josh Weidman's a longtime real estate investor. He came on with HMB about 10 months ago to run Central PA. And before that, he was a full-time real estate investor in different niches like wholesaling, done rental stuff, property management, flips. He's done a lot of stuff in residential real estate investing, and he has a very detailed and specific process as how he would present to and close a potential seller. And this is a direct to seller that he would get from marketing. And I would like to see how he or someone who runs that same kind of marketing campaign would tailor that to a Zoom situation, because it could definitely be done. It could definitely be done. I mean, obviously not as good as being in person in someone's home checking out the property, but definitely better than the phone. Definitely better than a phone call too. And also you have the easy option in some of the Zoom stuff and other kinds of video platforms to record it, because that could become very relevant later on. You know, in terms of discussing the deal and documenting what you're going to do. Having a video recording of some of this stuff, I think, could be very helpful down the road.
Yeah, exactly. I was just perusing through this chapter from
checking out the whiteboard book.
Offline blend. Well, because it talks about, you know, the nature of the online offline blend. So let me show you what this is what the chapter looks like at the beginning. If you can read that, the online offline blend reality. And God, it's funny. It has quotes related to the 1990s movie, You've Got Mail. and the dial-up days of AOL and stuff like that. And then how everything just kind of you know, then it talks about the future of the blend and how, like, I don't know, we put in here like Oculus VR, and other stuff that like Facebook was currently doing. When did we write this book?
It was 2014, I want to say. I think it came out at the end of 2014. So that's
So anyways, but again, the key principles don't change. The key principles don't change. I mean, business is always going to be had with people, you know, that like and trust you. It's that simple. So that's just what it is. I mean, you know, I know that it doesn't matter how bad one of our clients needs a loan. If they don't trust us, they're not going to do a loan with us, right? It's that simple. And on the other end, we don't care how good any real estate project is. Someone could be buying it for $400,000 and putting down $300,000, just need a loan of $100,000. Well, if we don't trust them, and if they're not a good character and they're not a good fit, we'll never get our money back. Like, we won't do a loan for them either. So
True.
I think there's a lot of lessons in that in life related to a lot of things. And so many people, especially in real estate, because there's so many like shiny objects in real estate, which is like, oh, I can make a lot of money on this thing. Oh, let me find a partner. My partner can do this. They can do that. We can do this deal together. And it's like, they forget about the basics. And and right now, I think more people are forgetting about the basics. There's more scams out there. There's a lot of things out there because, everyone's operating digitally, and, they forget to go look at the house or meet the person or whatever it is. And, just be smart, keep it old school.
Totally. I mean, that's why we've always, no, go ahead.
Josephine, 100%. I'm glad you're with us on this. I think it's important as well.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we've been hammering the go local, stay local. We've been hammering that since we started in this business. Like whether that's a residential real estate investor, flipper, rental property owner, unless you get up into big stuff, multifamily, office, stuff like that, there's plenty that you can do in your local market in all likelihood, depending on where you are. And you're going to have so much more control. You're going to have so much more success over it. And same thing with us. Well, first of all, on the real estate investor side, I remember talking to somebody. It was in our meetup group. It was back in the day. I want to say that it was when our meetup group was still small before we moved out to a venue, and we were still having it in our office with like a few dozen people, the most we could fit. And a lady, a local person, newer sort of investor, she was hooked up with one of the groups, like one of the like coaching, mentoring sort of program. And I remember her saying like, yeah, my dream is just to be buying here. I'm buying in Phoenix. I'm buying in Dallas. I'm buying in Indianapolis. And boom, there's a hot market here. There's a hot market there. And I was just like, all right, we got to bring you back down to, and it was a newer investor. I'm like, we got to bring you back down to earth a little bit. Like there's plenty for you to do here. You're going to have more success, less risk, more control over your transactions. There's plenty to do. We're in DC metro area. There's plenty to do around here, right? Plenty of deals to do, a lot of different markets, a lot of property types. And same thing to lenders that we talk to when people are like, oh, we lend hard money in 47 states. We're like, how and why? How and why? Let's start there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand how any real estate investors invest outside their local market unless they really, really know it. If maybe they moved here from another state and then they know that state or they have an operation there. But listen, it's hard enough to conduct business. It's hard enough to invest in real estate locally. You're going to make this more difficult for you and do it in other markets. And I don't like the argument of, oh, well, there's no opportunities here. There's no way to find deals here. Well, you know what? Lots of people are finding deals here. Are the margins skinny? Maybe. Are there deals out there? Absolutely. Do you have to work hard to find them? Yeah, absolutely. They're not going to fall in your lap, but they're still there. What happens if a deal goes bad out of area? How are you going to do it? Like, what are you going to do if a deal starts really going sideways? Being in different jurisdictions in different areas, that someplace you can't put your eyes on it is challenging.
Yeah, it's hard enough to handle those problem deals at home. They're hard enough to handle at home, let alone like several states away.
Yeah.
So another quick story on that note, and this just came to me in conversation, but if you really want to commit to another market, then commit to that market. My cousin Jordan, who has lived in San Francisco since he was a kid, recently picked up and moved to Boise, Idaho, because he wants to buy real estate there, and he is actively buying real estate there. And it's like the next Denver sort of thing. Like Boise, Idaho is blowing up in terms of tech companies moving there and relocating there. And so a lot of people, workforce, educated folks, tech company people, and he's out in front of a lot of that, buying up rental real estate. And he moved there. He just picked up and moved there. So if you want to commit to somewhere else where the numbers work or something, like, I'm not saying you have to move there, but I'm saying you could pick a second market if you want to, split time, really get to know it, really dive in and know it. That's different than like, I'm buying in St. Louis, I'm buying in Jacksonville, I'm buying in Chicago. It's all going fantastic. Like, it's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, we could tell you firsthand that there's still a lot of local opportunities in all the markets that we lend in, because we know the markets, and we see all the deals that come in. We see the deals that we're doing loans on for investors. They're out there. For real estate investors, they're out there and they're doing good deals. Yeah, are the margins a little bit skinnier than the past? Yeah, possibly. But guess what? You better execute your butt off on those deals and do a better job with performing on them. Get the construction done quickly. Don't spend, listen, hard money lenders have high interest rates, right? But if that's going to be the case and you need to make project work, you better get in and out of that project as quick as possible. So, it doesn't end up costing that much on the thing. So they're still there. Are they going to fall in your lap? Absolutely not. They're not going to fall in your lap. If you were buying stuff 15 or 10 years ago or so, stuff would fall in your lap. You go on MLS, you find a deal, you flip it, and you rinse and repeat. You do that. That doesn't mean you have to get out of the game because you can't find deals like that anymore. They're still out there. But again, you got to kind of figure out exactly and target exactly the area you want to be in, and stick with that. Let's say you want to be in whatever, Howard County, Maryland, where our office is, right? So, okay, what part do you want to be in? Do you want to be in Ellicott City? Do you want to be in Columbia? Do you want to be in Elkridge? After that, what resources do you have and what are you comfortable doing? Like, unfortunately, if you don't have a lot of money or a marketing budget, it's going to be tough to find a lot of properties. Then you're going to have to probably work your butt off and do things that don't cost any money. You know what doesn't cost money? Going door to door, networking with other real estate investors at meetup groups, talking to local real estate agents, running your mouth and doing whatever you got to do physically to be in front of people, right? Maybe potentially going to put bandit signs or door hangers or something like that, right? So it depends. That's if you just have tons and tons of time, but you don't have a lot of money. On the other side, maybe you have lots and lots of money, but you don't have a lot of time. Well, then you can run Google ads. You can do marketing mailing campaigns. You have other options. So the first step is not necessarily like, how do I find all these deals? It's, understanding yourself and figuring out what resources you have and then what you want to do and what you don't want to do. You might say, hey, I've got money. I just want to partner with somebody. Okay, we'll go find good partnerships. Go find good real estate investors that are doing good deals and figure out a way to put up the capital for that. So it just really depends on who you are and what you want.
Very true. Very true. Still many ways to get it done. That's in a couple different directions here, but yeah, in terms of doing more things online, moving some of your communication online and still offline in the safe sort of way, obviously, and then also different property types, different ways of finding them, seeing what areas are work, switching it up, all the different stuff that we covered in essence, so that we can all keep business moving forward in a profitable, productive, safe way in 2020. HMB podcast. Anything else to add before we wrap up?
No, I think we're good. There was a few questions that came in.
Let's do questions.
We'll get to those. I'll probably just reach out to all you guys individually. Josephine, I will tell you that, yeah, we absolutely lend. Typically, we're lending anywhere between Fredericksburg, Virginia, up to northern New Jersey. So DC area, Baltimore area, Philly area, New Jersey. Those are areas that we know really well and that we've been lending in for a long time. So anything in those particular areas, feel free to reach out. Jason at hardmoneybankers.com or Chris at hardmoneybankers.com. That's typically the best bet. Possibly Josephine, if you want to shoot me an email with it, obviously take a look. I mean, we're opportunistic. Sure. We're open to everything. I mean, obviously our core business is lending and that's what we do, but we'd be a fool not to at least entertain any other type of opportunities. So feel free to reach out, and any other questions, I see a few that have come in. I'll shoot you an email on those or reach out to you. Okay, guys?